For the last few decades, the economic story of Asia has been absolutely massive. I mean, it's one of the biggest stories on the planet. From Japan's post-war miracle to the incredible rise of China, this part of the world has completely redrawn the global map. But the real question now is, what's next? So let's dive right into that and explore what the future holds for Asian economic development. And this quote, it really nails it, doesn't it? The world's economic center of gravity has tilted decisively to the east. I mean, that's not some far-off prediction anymore. It's just the reality we're living in. And that's our starting point for figuring out what's coming down the pike. And right away, here's the tension. We all know that past performance is no guarantee of future results, right? The very model that created this unbelievable success story is now facing some really serious questions. This is the central puzzle that analysts and policymakers all over the region are trying to solve right now. So what's the problem exactly? Well, the main engine of all this growth, manufacturing, powered by pretty low labor costs, it's kind of hitting a wall. It's reaching its natural limit. The path forward that used to be so clear is suddenly looking a whole lot more complicated. This brings us to a really important idea, the middle income trap. So what is it? Well, basically, it's what happens when a country gets stuck. Wages go up, which is great for the people, but it means their old manufacturing model isn't the cheapest on the block anymore. The problem is, they haven't quite developed the high-tech innovation and services to compete with the really advanced economies. They're literally stuck in the middle. So this creates a huge crossroads for developing nations in Asia. Do you stick with the old playbook, more manufacturing? Or do you try to leapfrog ahead into a future that's all about innovation, things like AI and green energy? There's no easy answer here, and this is the debate that's raging right now. And this whole question has pretty much created two different camps of people watching the region. You've got the skeptics, who see some major hurdles ahead, and then you've got the optimists, who believe new drivers of growth are already taking over. And right here, you can see the two arguments side by side, in stark contrast. The skeptics are pointing to some serious headwinds, aging populations, crushing debt, but the optimists, they're looking at a completely different story. They see incredible energy in the digital economy, stronger trade within Asia itself, and a consumer class that's really just getting started.
All right, so let's dig into that first side of the argument a little more, the case for concern. Why do some economists think the best days of that explosive growth are behind us? It really comes down to a few fundamental structural challenges.
For the skeptics, it boils down to two facts that are pretty hard to ignore. First, you've got a shrinking workforce in major economies like Japan and China. That puts a natural brake on growth. Fewer workers just means less output potential. Simple as that. And second, the massive debt that a lot of these countries took on to fuel their growth is starting to come due. It all points to the idea that the era of easy, low-hanging fruit growth is probably gone for good. But hold on, that's far from the whole story. The optimists have a powerful counterargument. They say that, yeah, the old manufacturing engine might be sputtering a bit, but a brand new one, powered by totally different fuels, is already roaring to life. And at the very heart of this new dynamism is what's called the demographic dividend. Just look at a country like Indonesia. It has a massive, young, and super digitally savvy population. They're not just following the old path. They're creating totally new ways to grow, from e-commerce to fintech, all built on a digital-first foundation. And then you've got Vietnam. It has expertly moved into position as a key hub for high-tech manufacturing, becoming a really critical piece in global supply chains. This shows an incredible knack for adapting and grabbing new opportunities as the global economy changes. And of course, you can't forget India. We're talking about a huge domestic market combined with world-class tech and service sectors. It's a powerhouse in its own right. These countries aren't just theories. They're living proof that new engines of growth are already firing on all cylinders. So what's the foundation for all this optimism? Well, it really seems to rest on four key pillars that all support each other. First, adaptability. These economies have been through crises before, and they've bounced back stronger. Second, they're building a stronger economic neighborhood, trading more with each other and depending less on the West. Third, that rising middle class is creating a huge internal market for goods and services. And finally, the explosion in digital tech is just unlocking potential we couldn't have even imagined a decade ago. And that quote right there really captures that feeling. When you actually look at how these economies are innovating, from fintech in the cities to digital services reaching tiny rural villages, it's hard not to be impressed. It's just an incredible story of dynamism. So where does all this leave us? We're kind of caught between these major headwinds on one side and these powerful new drivers on the other. The path forward probably isn't a simple story of boom or bust. It's more likely a story of transformation. And this, I think, is maybe the most insightful takeaway here. The future of Asian growth might not look anything like its past. Those crazy, headline-grabbing double-digit numbers, they might be gone. But what could replace them is something slower, steadier, and maybe, just maybe, more sustainable and inclusive for a lot more people. So what this all means is that we really can't measure Asia's future with the same old yardstick from its past. The story isn't just about the speed of growth anymore. It's about the quality and the nature of that growth. The entire region is evolving, and it's reinventing its economic model for a completely new era. And that leaves us with one last massive question to chew on. As this economic giant changes how it works on the inside, the ripple effects are going to be felt absolutely everywhere. The reinvention of Asia will, in turn, force a reinvention of the whole global economy. And what that looks like? Well, that's the next great story just waiting to be told.